After 3 years of drought, Cangyun Kingdom finally has what the Taoist said, a blessed woman who can change the country's fortune. However, Shen Ningning, a lucky girl, was stolen and thrown into the mountains just after she was born. She was finally picked up by kind-hearted people and was subjected to daily abuse and beating by her malicious aunt, almost losing her life. Finally, the wolf pack couldn't bear to see her, took her away, and from then on, favored and protected her 1,000 times. The little one is not idle either. Is there nothing left for the wolf pack to eat? Easy. Billions of resources in space, no worries about food and clothing. How long will it not rain? The waterway will dry up. Not afraid. Lead out Lingquan and nourish the entire mountain. Are you too poor without money? Fake. 1,000 taels of gold for a single spiritual herb, competing with wealthy merchants. Enemy country invading. Don't panic. The cubs silently took out gunpowder and blasted them all into the sky. Malicious White Lotus snatches the title of blessed woman. Stunned. Prime Minister's father comes to recognize each other, spoil the cubs, punish the wicked. Others ask, Ningning, what is your dream? Shen Ningning. Raising wolves, earning big money, saving lives, and abusing scumbags. Angry Crown Prince Mo Lingwei said, my dream is to sacrifice all the land and mountains, and also to protect my Anning. Keywords of the novel. Being thrown into a wolf's nest. Puppy grip space, no pop-ups in disaster years, thrown into a wolf's nest. Download the complete set of disaster year TXT with limited space in your hands, thrown into a wolf's nest. Reading of the latest chapters in the year of disaster, with the degree of space held by the cubs. Chapter 1. Blessed Girl, Little Poor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Blessed Girl, Little Poor. In summer, the scorching sun scorches the earth. In a household in Cangyun village, a little girl's heart-wrenching cries were heard. Auntie, Ningning really didn't damage your clothes. Are you still trying to argue, you dead child? The silk clothes were expensive and were given by my sister's family. Now they have been destroyed by you. What do you want me to wear to the banquet? Are you trying to embarrass me? Aunt Chin scolded while increasing her strength. The 4-year-old girl cried pitifully and huddled tightly in the corner. She has fair skin, big eyes soaked with tears, and her crying nose is pink. It's not me, it's my sister. She looked at Qin Fangmei, the youngest daughter of the Qin family, beside her. Shen Ningning. Qin Fangmei suddenly interrupted, her tone instantly rising. My uncle is an outsider. When he finds out that you have damaged my things, he will definitely not let you go. Aunt Qin fiercely raised the bamboo stick and fiercely slapped it on her hand. Do you admit your mistake? Shen Ningning let out a scream and hugged herself tightly with her small hand. Ningning didn't do anything wrong, Ningning didn't admit it. The little one trembled with pain. Grandma Qin, who was locked up in the firewood room, begged through the window, stop fighting. Gue Hong, I kneel down for Ningning on your behalf. If we continue to fight, she will die. Aunt Qin gave Grandma Qin a disdainful glance. Humph, I'm not teaching my mother a lesson for her child. If you hadn't insisted on picking her up and raising her back then, I wouldn't have been so angry now. Last time this little wild seed stole eggs, I locked her up for 3 days. After coming out, she harbored revenge and broke my clothes. She's like this at a young age. Shouldn't she grow up to be a murderer? Shen Ningning endured the pain and lifted her pale little face, saying, I didn't steal anything. Listen, the little orphan has become accustomed to lying. Can we not fight? Aunt Qin was in a fit of anger, rolled up her sleeves, raised the bamboo again, and pulled it down hard. Shen Ningning hugged herself and huddled on the ground. Pain. Why is Auntie unwilling to believe her? The clothes were clearly accidentally burned by Qin Fangmei. That night, she couldn't sleep in pain when she saw Qin Fangmei secretly taking out the silk clothes from the cabinet and happily draped them over her body. While admiring in circles, I accidentally knocked over a nearby candle and my clothes were burned out with 2 holes. At that time, she wanted to remind her, but she had just been beaten by her aunt during the day and had no strength to speak. At this moment, Aunt Qin hit her hard and the little one curled up in pain. Grandma Qin was still pleading, crying and sobbing, as if she was about to lose her breath. Almost done. Hurry up and leave, otherwise you won't be able to catch your brother-in-law's birthday banquet later. Uncle Qin, who had been silent all along, frowned and spoke, already annoyed. It was a disaster year and his family's fields had not harvested for a year. When I see your brother-in-law later, let him think of a way to find a job for me in the city, otherwise the rice jars at home will be at their bottom. Listening to her husband's words, Aunt Qin snorted coldly, threw away the bamboo stick, and glanced at Grandma Qin, saying, "It's all your mother's fault. For years ago, I insisted on picking up a child back. This burden can't be done well. I eat and drink from home every day, and the food will definitely be consumed quickly. If I were her, I wouldn't have the face to live." Uncle Qin remained calm and didn't dare to refute anything. He only urged Aunt Qin to go back to the house and change her clothes as soon as possible. The family got on the ox cart borrowed from the village chief's house and was about to leave. Qin Fangmei saw with sharp eyes that Shen Ningning, kneeling on the ground, wanted to stand up. "Mother. Let Shen Ningning kneel here to reflect and teach her a lesson." "We're right. Shen Ningning, you should kneel here. If I come back and find that you've moved a bit, let's see how I'll deal with you." Upon hearing this, Qin Fangmei felt that it was not enough. She picked up a stone and drew a tiny circle around Shen Ningning kneeling, warning with a smile. "If you dare to come out, you'll be dead." Shen Ningning's face was ashen as she knelt on the ground, helplessly watching them leave in the ox cart. The sun shone fiercely on the wound, causing severe pain all over. Grandma Qin, who was locked in the firewood room, urgently called out, "Ning Ning, slowly stand up and give it a try." Shen Ningning remained motionless, sitting on the ground, his thick clothes covered in dust. Those clear and dark big eyes were filled with confusion. Grandma Qin became increasingly anxious and panicked. Finally, Shen Ningning let out a painful moan and slowly stood up with her small hands on the ground. Grandma Qin felt heartbroken and said, "Ning Ning, it's all my fault that Grandma doesn't have the ability to protect you." The little one walked unsteadily to the vicinity of the woodshed. She tried to stand on tiptoe and reached into the window to wipe Grandma Qin's tears. "Grandma won't cry anymore, Ning Ning doesn't hurt at all." Upon hearing this, Grandma Qin cried even harder and couldn't help but complain about herself. A few days ago, Shen Ningning was locked in the firewood room by Aunt Qin. Grandma Qin couldn't bear it and gave the little guy some food. As a result, Aunt Qin discovered it and directly locked Grandma Qin in the firewood room to reflect on Shen Ningning. "I have been locked up until now." Suddenly, Grandma Qin was crying, as if she couldn't catch her breath. "The little one is anxious. Grandma." She quickly touched the small red mole in her right finger and flashed into space while her grandmother couldn't see it. Skillfully scooped up a bowl of Lingquan water and it came out. "Grandma, drink some water quickly." Shen Ningning pressed the bowl against the window and poured all the water into Grandma Qin's mouth through the window. After a while, Grandma Qin's face improved and she sat on the ground, panting heavily. "Ning Ning, don't worry, Grandma is much better now." Shen Ningning finally breathed a sigh of relief. When she was 2 years old, she accidentally touched a small red mole on her body and came to this fairyland. There is endless rice, meat, eggs, and fresh vegetables inside, as well as many seeds that Shen Ningning does not recognize, and hundreds of cabinets filled with herbs. What's even more magical is that the clear spring water inside can help her injuries heal faster. Shen Ningning wiped away her tears with a small hand and asked, "Grandma, will you live with me in the wonderland? There, Auntie can't bully us." Grandma Qin thought Shen Ningning was going to take her away and shook her head weakly. "Although you were picked up by your grandmother, you are not an orphan that no one wants. When your grandmother discovered you back then, there was a string of silver locks hanging around your neck called rui. Did you hide that string of rui well?" Shen Ningning nodded tightly, lifted her clothes, revealing her tender white belly. That string of silver locks, as desired, was tied to her waist with a rope. "Here." Grandma Qin nodded contentedly and said, "Behind rui is engraved the 3 characters Shen Ningning, which is your name. This rui is exquisitely crafted and looks like something from a wealthy family. Your parents must have accidentally lost you. They will definitely come to find you, and then you can go home without suffering anymore." Shen Ningning seemed to understand, so she put down her clothes and gently patted her belly. "Ning Ning will protect Rui well. When my parents come to pick me up, I will take my grandmother with me." Grandma Qin smiled with tears in her eyes. Suddenly. "Mother. I said this little orphan wouldn't kneel down in place." Qin Fangmei's sharp voice came from the door. "Aunt Qin and the others are back." The author's fragmented thoughts. 1. This book is fictional, please do not rely on textual research. 2. First released by Yinchi Academy, available for reading on QQ Reading Platform 3. As usual, hold high the sweet pet flag and welcome everyone to join me in pampering my daughter for 2 daily updates, 2,000 words per update. Continue to add updates after stabilization if you like it. Don't forget to collect positive votes. Thank you for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Wolf Pack Take It Away, 1,000 Pets and 100 Protections. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Wolf Pack Take It Away, 1,000 Pets and 100 Protections. Not long after we left, the ox cart broke down. "It must be you, a little wild bastard, who has taken control of us. I'm already upset, just kill me." Uncle Qin also shouted impatiently. Upon hearing Uncle Qin's support, Aunt Qin hurriedly picked up the discarded bamboo strips and grabbed Shen Ningning's evasive body. "Want to run? Old Qin. Come and press her." Shen Ningning's small face was panicked, and Aunt and Mrs. Qin ignored Grandma Qin's plea for mercy and vented all their anger on Shen Ningning. Qin Fangmei stood on the side, looking proudly. "Mother, she doesn't even listen to you, fight hard." She had a fierce expression and kept provoking. "She just hates Shen Ningning. A little orphan, yet so fair-skinned and agile, everyone in the village praises her for her beauty. Why is she so fair and tender as a person who is starving and eating every meal, even though everything delicious at home is tightly attached to her?" The grandson of the village chief always jokes when he sees Qin Fangmei, saying that they stand together and she is like Shen Ningning's maid. Shen Ningning's small body was pinned to the ground by Uncle Qin, struggling and crying, causing heartache. "Auntie, the ox cart was not broken by Ningningka." Aunt Qin naturally didn't listen and raised the bamboo stick high, just about to pull it down. Suddenly, there was a considerable commotion in the village, mixed with screams of terror and faint sounds. "The wolf is here, run quickly." "Wolf." Aunt Qin looked suspicious and instructed Uncle Qin, "You go out and take a look." "What's going on?" The dogs raised in the village all let out mournful cries. Their own chickens also curled up their necks and remained motionless in the cage. Uncle Qin had just picked up the hoe by the wall and opened the firewood door when a huge black shadow suddenly rushed towards him, carrying a fierce stench. It's actually a strong black wolf. It pounced on Uncle Qin directly, as if in a retaliatory act, and opened its bloody mouth to bite the hand he had just pressed on Shen Ningning. "Ah!" Uncle Qin's voice was mournful and he suddenly passed out in pain. Scared, Qin Fangmei and Qin Auntie screamed at the same time. Aunt Qin turned around and ran, stepping on the wood piled up in the corner, climbing up the edge of the wall and escaping, completely disregarding her own daughter. Several wolves, with sharp teeth, walked into the yard from behind the black wolf. Qin Fangmei rolled her eyes in fear and suddenly fainted, falling directly into the well behind her. These wolves are approaching Shen Ningning. Ningning! Run quickly! Grandma Qin burst into tears. Shen Ningning couldn't run and her small body was weak. The Black Wolf King had already walked up to her, with a gloomy brass wolf-like gaze, looking down at the little one. Being too close, Shen Ningning could even see the bloodstains left at the corner of its mouth. She closed her eyes tightly, covered her head with her small hands, and was ready to be eaten. Suddenly, the Black Wolf King grabbed her collar and ran away. The wolf pack followed behind it, retreating extremely quickly. Hurry up, the wolf has taken the child away. Grandma Qin's panicked cries for help echoed through the village. After a while, the villagers dared to approach the Qin family cautiously. That group of wolves appeared too suddenly. Apart from biting a few poultry, they didn't harm anyone except the Qin family. Shen Ningning was led by a wolf and ran into the mountains and forests. After half a burning incense stick, the Black Wolf King finally placed her in a cave. The little one was afraid, leaning against the mountain wall and trembling violently. She was always ready to touch the red mole and hide in the fairyland. The wolf pack sat in front of her, all scrutinizing her. The two wolves standing behind the Black Wolf King were whispering and then showing their teeth to Shen Ningning playfully. Listen. Shen Ningning's big eyes were filled with tears, and she quickly denied, Don't eat me. My meat is not delicious or tender, it's bitter. The wolf pack was surprised and glanced at each other. This little girl can actually understand their communication. The Black Wolf King stepped forward and let out a few low growls at Shen Ningning. The little one covered his mouth and spoke softly with surprise, Are you saying you won't eat me, just to save me? The wolf pack followed the Black Wolf King and nodded one after another. The Black Wolf standing behind the Black Wolf King just now took the initiative to approach. It hummed twice, but Shen Ningning understood the other person's thoughts. Originally, these wolves often heard the little one cry, knowing that she had been bullied all along. They deeply regret it. When they found Shen Ningning still in her swaddling clothes in the forest, they should have picked her up. No, they heard Shen Ningning's crying again, couldn't bear it anymore, and decided to save her. Shen Ningning asked pitifully, So? Was it my father and mother who threw me back then? The wolf pack shook their heads, indicating that they didn't know, and Shen Ningning's eyes dimmed. If she can't find her parents, she has to stay here and live with Aunt Qin and the others. Perhaps sensing the little one's thoughts, the Black Wolf King lightly bit Shen Ningning's sleeve and invited her to live with them. The wolf pack became excited and roared in agreement. Their father is the Black Wolf King of the entire mountain forest, no one dares to provoke them. Besides, this little doubting understands wolf language, so of course he needs to stay and play with him. Shen Ningning's eyes sparkled as if she had ignited hope. Can I bring my grandmother over too? After a brief silence, the Black Wolf King nodded in agreement. The little one was extremely happy. She quickly stood up and wanted to run home to bring her grandmother. But the place where I was beaten before still feels a faint pain. One of them didn't stand firm, and her little buttocks snapped as she sat on the ground again. The Black Wolf King sighed and lightly sniffed Shen Ningning's wound, gesturing for her to recover first. Shen Ningning's voice was sticky, and she learned from other wolf packs by whimpering twice, Thank you wolf pack. After she finished shouting, the Wolf King was taken aback. The other wolves immediately gathered around Shen Ningning and licked her hair one by one. The little one is not only not afraid, but also giggles innocently. In her eyes, these wolves are much kinder than her aunt. They are very fierce, but they won't be unreasonable, nor will they suddenly pick up a stick and hit her like Aunt Qin. At this moment, a black wolf with a hint of white hair around its neck made a gurgling sound in its belly. It howled a few times in dissatisfaction, and the other wolves responded with a whimper. Shen Ningning blinked her big eyes and understood. They are hungry. Just now in the village, there was no large-scale hunting, so they planned to go hunting. At this moment, they looked at Shen Ningning. Inquire with eyes if the little one wants to eat something. Shen Ningning quickly waved his hand and said, you don't need to go hunting. I have a lot of food here. After she finished speaking, she immediately touched the red mole, flashed into space, and disappeared in front of the wolf pack. The living person disappeared, and the wolf pack stood up in fear, looking left and right. Missing. The next second, Shen Ningning appeared in the original place. She held fresh pork in her arms, as well as a whole skinned and feathered chicken. You eat. The little one offered a treasure and placed it in front of them. The pack of wolves, including the Black Wolf King, looked at the little one in shock. Shen Ningning smiled softly and said, I have a fairyland where everything is. She dare not let others know this secret, but she is very reassured about the wolves. She grabbed the paw of the Black Wolf King with her small hand, trying to bring it in too, but in vain. It seems that she is only allowed to enter the fairyland alone. Shen Ningning pursed her lips, feeling a bit depressed. So, Grandma can't live with her in the fairyland anymore. The wolf pack is overjoyed. The little one they picked up can not only understand their speech, but also produce a lot of food. The Black Wolf King divided the meat among the wolf pack. And Shen Ningning decided that since he couldn't enter the fairyland, he would move the things inside out. In a short day, she led the Lingquan out, causing the water of the Lingquan to emerge from a previously dry spring on the mountain. Shen Ningning still piled up fresh meat and delicious fruits in the wolf's den. She soaked in the Lingquan for half a day, and on the third day, her injuries healed 7 or 8 times, with only shallow marks left. Wolf, I'll go down the mountain now and bring my grandmother over. Her small face was full of anticipation for a new life. The Black Wolf King immediately lay down and gestured for Shen Ningning to come onto its back. They want to send Shen Ningning down the mountain. The wolf pack set out, and Shen Ningning rode the Black Wolf King back to Cangyun village. To avoid causing panic, the little one made them wait in the mountains and forests near the village. She walked back to the Qin family alone. Pushing open the door, Aunt Qin was drying clothes when she turned her head and saw Shen Ningning, as if she had seen a ghost. How dare you not die? The little one is not afraid of her at all now. She knows that the wolf pack is nearby and will protect her. Shen Ningning raised her chin and said fiercely, where's my grandmother? I want to take her away. Aunt Qin looked at her contemptuously and said, You killed her. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Grandma was killed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Grandma was killed. You're lying. Shen Ningning panicked for a moment, quickly calmed down. She didn't believe it. Aunt Qin gave her a sidelong glance and mocked, what's the use of lying to you? Last time the wolf came and took you away, she was scared to death. If she didn't hold on, wouldn't she die? The more she spoke, the more vicious Aunt Qin's tone became. It's all thanks to your blessings. The wolf took you away, but didn't eat you. It must be because he thinks you're unlucky. Shen Ningning, your grandmother is someone you killed. How could you still have the face to come back? The little one was said to have red eyes, biting his lips tightly in never crying. She stepped away and ran towards the yard. Grandma! Grandma! Shen Ningning shouted as she searched. There is no one in the firewood room, nor in the main house or kitchen. Even Grandma's daily necessities are gone. At this point, Shen Ningning finally burst into tears. Grandma must have thought she died of sadness because she was eaten by a wolf. She wiped her tears with her small hands and left the yard with a whimper. Looking at her back, Aunt Qin raised her voice and said, take your grandmother to death, and don't live either. This way, your grandparents and grandchildren can reunite. Grandma Chen, who was opposite, happened to come out to fetch water and frowned upon hearing this. "Chin auntie, we can't speak too harshly. Anyway, Ningning is only 4 years old. What if the child takes it seriously and does something foolish?" Aunt Chin chuckled coldly and said, "Grandma Chen, I heard that your son made a mistake in the border and is about to be driven back. You can't even manage your own troubles and come to worry about other people's affairs. You feel sorry for her, so take her home and raise her." Grandma Chen was angry and cursed with her hips crossed. "Oh my God, stop talking nonsense. My son and the general defended the border, so he didn't make any mistakes. You didn't look at your immoral appearance in the mirror, and you dared to arrange for my son. You can say anything, but you can't say her son." Grandma Chen was too lazy to talk to this wicked person and walked away carrying a bucket. Aunt Chin spat and said, "My husband died early. I see your son is also like this, a family of short-lived ghosts." Grandma Chen chased after Shen Ningning with a bucket and saw her sitting by the riverbank outside the village, crying sadly at the cracked riverbed. Several black wolves were guarding her side. Grandma Chen was startled, and as she was about to approach, she was scared away by the warning eyes of these wolves. The little one heard a voice and turned around to look. Grandma Chen. She touched the largest black wolf with her little hand. "Don't worry, Grandma Chen is a good person. She gave me mantu a year ago." As the words fell, the wolves protecting Shen Ningning slowly retreated to the nearby area. But the gaze fixed on Grandma Chen remained cold. "What's going on here, Ningning? Do you know them?" Looking at Grandma Chen's surprised expression, Shen Ningning nodded in disappointment and said, "These are my wolf friends. Grandma Chen, this is for you." She reached out her little hand and held a red fruit in her palm. Thin skin and plenty of flesh, full of juice, it looks sweet at first glance. In recent years, there has been a famine, with less rain. Not to mention the fruit trees, there are few crops that can survive. Such a watery fruit is sold in the city, every one costs 10 taels, which is the annual expense of an ordinary family. Therefore, Grandma Chen was very surprised. Watching the little guy with his head drooping, his fair and tender face looked as if it had faded. Grandma Chen took the red fruit and said, "Ning Ning, don't be sad. Trust Grandma, your grandmother hasn't died." Shen Ningning suddenly lifted her face, with tears still hanging on her face. "Really?" "But Aunt said." "Your aunt is lying to you. She and your uncle are two animals. That day you were caught by a wolf, and your grandmother was scared and paralyzed. They didn't want to pay to find the doctor, so they just carried your grandmother up the mountain, hoping that she would survive on her own. But where did she leave it? I don't know. You go find her, she must not have died yet. Your grandmother can't bear to part with you." After Grandma Chen finished speaking, Shen Ningning's eyes instantly widened and burst into ecstasy. "Thank you Grandma Chen." The little one turned around and was about to run. "Ah!" Grandma Chen grabbed her and painfully returned the fruit. "Take it and give it to your grandmother to eat. It's also because Shen Ningning is lonely and helpless, so pitiful." The little one pushed the red fruit back and said, "I still have a lot left. Grandma, keep it for yourself. I'll find Grandma later and send it to you." After speaking, she even took out the 2 remaining fruits from the thin cloth pocket and put them in Grandma Chen's hand. "Wolf, let's hurry into the mountain. Grandma is still alive." Shen Ningning was extremely happy and grabbed the wolf's fur with her small hand, easily sitting on the back of the black wolf. The Black Wolf King was like lightning in an instant, running away with a pack of wolves. Looking at their backs, Grandma Chen held 3 large fruits in her hand and froze. So these wolves didn't come to eat people last time, they came to support her. What a pity. Why didn't they bite Aunt Chin to death? After entering the mountain. The mountains and forests are too big, where did Grandma go after all? Watching Shen Ningning constantly making difficulties, the Black Wolf King turned around and rubbed his head against her little hand. Signal the little one not to worry, it will solve it. I saw the Black Wolf King jump 3 or 2 times to the highest position on the cliff. Ahem, it howled like a wolf in the sky, but in just a moment, different wolf calls echoed throughout the entire forest. The howling summer wind blew over the black wolf fur it hunted, and also brushed over Shen Ningning's rosy little face. She listened carefully to these wolves barking and understood their communication. The wolf actually commands the entire pack of wolves in the mountains and forests to search for their grandmother. Shen Ningning hugged the head of the Black Wolf King and said, "Thank you." But soon in the southern woods, there came the sound of wolf howling. The Black Wolf King's eyes were cold, and he immediately carried Shen Ningning's back and ran towards that direction. When I found Grandma Qin, she was chained to a big pit and unconscious. "Grandma!" The little one quickly jumped into the pit, only to find that Grandma Qin was burning all over. Shen Ningning travels back and forth to space multiple times. First, I fed my grandmother a lot of Lingquan water and took out a lot of medicinal herbs, but I don't know which one can save my grandmother's life. The Black Wolf King was above, and the wolf whispered a few words. Shen Ningning raised a medicinal herb he had taken out and said, Wolf said this ginseng can be useful." The Black Wolf King nodded. The little one didn't hesitate, tore off the ginseng beard with his hand, stuffed it into his grandmother's mouth, and let her swallow it together with the spiritual spring water. Cough. After a moment, Grandma Qin woke up and said, "Ning Ning." Did Grandma read correctly? Is it really Ning Ning? Grandma, it's me. I wasn't eaten by a wolf, I came to see you. Grandma Qin looked up and down at Shen Ningning's small face and limbs, and after confirming that she was really okay, the grandparents and grandchildren hugged each other and cried. Blessed by heaven. Grandma Qin was in tears, and Shen Ningning grabbed her hand and said, "Grandma, I live with wolves now. They are very kind to me and promised to take you away and live with me. They helped me find you." Grandma Qin looked up and saw black wolves surrounding the cave, looking down. She was so scared that she almost fainted again, but fortunately Shen Ningning hugged her tightly. Grandma Qin calmed down and shook her head with a bitter smile, "Ning Ning, Grandma can't leave." She reached out and tugged at the iron chain on her ankle, which was thicker than her arm. At the other end of the iron chain, a huge stone was tightly bound. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Picking up a seriously injured teenager. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Picking up a seriously injured teenager. At first, Shen Ningning was taken away by a wolf, and Grandma Qin was already half paralyzed by fear, unable to walk upright. However, Aunt and Mrs. Qin are still afraid that she will crawl out of the pit and go home. Simply tie her up here, not giving anything to eat or drink. They think she's a burden, it's better to die early than to die late. Shen Ningning ran to the side of the iron chain, tugging with her small hands and using all her strength to suckle, her face turned red from holding back. Oh! She didn't pull, instead she fell on her own. The Black Wolf King jumped into the pit in a hurry. It arched Shen Ningning with its head, and then its sharp wolf teeth tore at the iron chain, trying to help. No matter how hard you bite, you can keep biting. Shen Ningning looked up at her small face, her eyes full of agility, constantly thinking of ideas. Can wolves pick up Grandma like they do with me? The Black Wolf King let out a roar. At its command, all the wolves left at the entrance cooperated. They grabbed Grandma Qin's collar, but couldn't pull her up. With a loud sizzle, Grandma Qin's clothes even cracked open. Grandma's clothes cracked first. This is over. I can't hold my grandmother's arm. The wolf pack looked at the boulder in front of them and hurriedly paced back and forth by the edge of the pit. The Black Wolf King let out 2 moans. Yeah, I can go to the fairyland and see if there's anything I can help with. Shen Ningning's eyes lit up and she flashed into the space. This scared Grandma Qin, but the little one suddenly disappeared. She looked around and called out loudly. Ning Ning. The Black Wolf King sat calmly on the side, looking at Grandma Qin. He reached out his paw and patted her head, meaning, "Don't be impatient. Shen Ningning is constantly searching for weapons in the main hall of space. There are knives, guns, sticks, and various weapons inside this hall. The little guy usually doesn't even go in because he doesn't know how to use it." Gunpowder. She walked up to a shelf and looked at the paper pasted on it. Gunpowder, what can it do? She really doesn't understand and doesn't know many words. Moreover, these gunpowder also have a pungent smell. The little one shook his head silently and turned away. So she could only pick out a sword that looked very sharp. Wolf, is this okay? The Black Wolf King lifted a wolf paw, and his yellow wolf pupils remained calm, writing helplessness on his face. The little one was taken aback, reacted, and smiled sweetly with embarrassment. Sorry, I forgot. Wolves and wolves' claws cannot hold swords. She had sex twice on her own and gestured towards the iron chain for half a day. The result is, of course, constant chopping. Shen Ningning sat on the ground dejectedly, and Grandma Qin touched her head to comfort her. Ningning, you don't have to worry about Grandma anymore. As long as you're okay, it's okay. Your aunt is right. Grandma is getting older and living is also a burden, and we can't drag you down. Grandma is not a burden. She is Ning Ning's closest person. Shen Ningning stood up and retorted, my strength is too weak and I can't stop chopping. Grandma, please wait for me. I'll go find someone to help, and I must save you. Having endured so much hardship, Shen Ningning won't be easily defeated. The little one entered the space and took out many red fruits to put in Grandma Qin's hand. Grandma, don't cry. Eat this red fruit quickly. It was planted in Ningning's fairyland. The sword I just had was also taken from the fairyland. There's everything I need inside. I can afford to take care of Grandma. Okay, okay. Grandma Qin wiped away her tears. Shen Ningning, however, fell into a dilemma as she didn't know who to turn to for help to save her grandmother. Grandma Chen is the only person in Cangyun village who treats her well except for Grandma. But she can't ask Grandma Chen for help, after all, Grandma Chen is old and not as strong as a wolf. The other villagers all dislike Aunt Qin and are unwilling to interact with the Qin family, let alone meddle in their affairs. Seeing Shen Ningning's difficulties, the Black Wolf King issued an order to his sons. Ow! As long as you see people in the mountains and forests recently, you are not allowed to eat. Tie them up and help first. The young black wolves nodded frequently and immediately scattered, each searching for a living person. Shen Ningning plans to take a basket of eggs and try to find someone willing to help in Cangyun village. Before reaching the village entrance, I saw a tall carriage driving into Cangyun village on the hillside. She recognized that it was the car driven by Aunt Qin's brother-in-law, Mr. Du. Shen Ningning's bright eyes suddenly dimmed, and she turned around and left, not intending to go to Cangyun village to find a helper. Because whenever Du Yuanwei came out, she would be kicked out, and Aunt Qin could only accompany Du Yuanwei alone in the room. Just as Shen Ningning was pondering who else to turn to for help, a wolf howl suddenly came from within the mountains and forests. The Black Wolf King quickly let out a few moans to Shen Ningning. It turns out that the wolves have brought in helpers. The little one looked excited and said, let's go and take a look. She climbed onto the back of the Black Wolf King and ran back to the vicinity of the wolf den. However, when she saw the helper, her fair and tender face was full of surprise. This person is bloody. Did you bite him to death? A young man covered in blood, face down, lying in the stream. The blood on his body flowed down the water and looked particularly glaring in the sunlight. The wolf, referred to as the third wolf by Shen Ningning, approached the little one and jumped up and down, as if inviting credit. People were not bitten by them. When this boy was discovered, he was already lying here in a bloody mess. Wolf 3 also used his front paws to step on the young man's head. The meaning is, he still has breath and can help. Hey, he's been injured so badly that he probably doesn't have the strength to save his grandmother for now. Let's take a look first. Shen Ningning slid down from the back of the Black Wolf King, walked forward, and joined forces with the wolf pack to turn the boy over. Wow! What a beautiful little brother. The young man was about 10 years old, tall and handsome with a pale face. His thin lips were devoid of blood, and under his slightly slanted cold eyebrows, a pair of thick black eyelashes, and his long eyes were tightly closed. Vivid and lifelike. However, his clothes were already stained with blood and couldn't be seen as they were. Shen Ningning skillfully took out ginseng from the space, put it in the boy's mouth, and crushed the herbs to give him a simple bandage. The smooth and handsome body lines are full of knife wounds. The place where Shen Ningning applied the medicine quickly leaked blood again, and the injury was really serious. The little one thought for a moment and said, "This won't work. Let's send him to soak in Lingquan." Soaking in Lingquan is more conducive to his recovery from injuries, and the Lingquan let out by Shen Ningning is not far from the wolf's den. Thinking this way, Shen Ningning turned her head and was about to ask the Black Wolf King to come over and help her lift the boy. Suddenly, the young man suddenly opened his eyes and grabbed her wrist, pressing Shen Ningning's small body under him. Shen Ningning's face turned pale with fear, and she let out a soft scream. The wolf pack roared and roared, charging towards the young man to tear him apart. "Don't move." The young man's thin eyes were crimson and fierce, and he paused word by word. "If you get any closer, I'll kill her." He was holding a sharp stone in his hand, pressing against Shen Ningning's snow-white neck. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Shen Ningning, don't leave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Shen Ningning, don't leave. Mo Lingwei woke up half an hour ago. Knowing that he was surrounded by a pack of wolves and the situation was not optimistic, he did not act rashly. After observation, he found that these wolves were listening to the little girl. So, he seized the opportunity to hold her hostage. Shen Ningning's face was flustered as she listened to the boy's heavy breathing. "You can't do this. The injury will be even more serious," she said cautiously. Mo Lingwei squinted his eyes and said, "Who are you?" "My name is Shen Ningning. They are kind wolves. When we see you covered in blood, we are planning to save you." After she finished speaking, Mo Lingwei turned his gaze, and the wolves bared their teeth fiercely, eager to rush forward and tear him apart. This little one actually claims that wolves are kind and believes they can save people. Mo Lingwei endured the pain and spoke coldly, "You tell them to step back, I want to leave here." Shen Ningning shook her head and said, "No way. You're injured so badly, it's best not to move." Wolf said, "There are too many knife wounds on your body, and it won't take 10.5 days to recover." "I don't want to hear it. Can't you think of a way, otherwise, you'll die with me." Mo Lingwei pushed the stone closer to an inch. Shen Ningning felt the discomfort on her neck and let out a groan, causing 2 tears of pain. The Black Wolf King roared angrily, and the wolf howled fiercely. If it were an ordinary person, it would have scared the heart out. Only the boy's face remained unchanged, and his eyes were shrouded in darkness. Shen Ningning endured the pain and said, "I am confident that I can cure you in less than 3 days. When you are well, you need to do me a favor. So, I can't let you go. With your injury, you can't get out of the mountains. You need me to treat your injury, and I also need you." The little one pretends to be strong, but in reality, his hands are trembling. Mo Lingwei lowered his head, but saw shocking scars on her exposed arm. Meet Shen Ningning's bright eyes again. He gritted his teeth and said, "Can you negotiate terms with me?" Shen Ningning stubbornly pursed her lips and remained silent. It looked like trying to put on a fierce look, but was betrayed by the twinkling tears in his eyes. Seeing her like this, Mo Lingwei suddenly stopped his hand, threw stones, and sat on the riverbank, his face pale with pain. The wolf pack immediately rushed forward and protected Shen Ningning in the middle. As the Black Wolf King was about to pounce and bite Mo Lingwei to death, Shen Ningning called out, "Wolf! Come back!" She tightly grabbed the Black Wolf King and said, "When he gets better, he can help me save my grandmother and calm down." Mo Lingwei listened and remained motionless. The Black Wolf King let out a low roar before giving up. Shen Ningning approached Mo Lingwei, and the young man closed his eyes. Seeing the wound on his body, the little one cracked again due to his recent actions. Blood flowed down his skin, and he just frowned slightly. Shen Ningning quickly used a clean handkerchief to wipe him with the stream water. The young man furrowed his eyebrows slightly, opened his eyes, and said angrily, "I'll do it myself." He snatched away the handkerchief. By the time he finished wiping, Shen Ningning had already asked Wolf San to pull out a rag bag from the wolf's den. Unzip the cloth bag, inside is a dazzling array of rare medicinal herbs. Ginseng, lingji, deer antler, snow lotus. Mo Lingwei slowly opened his eyes and was surprised to see so many medicinal herbs. However, on second thought, she lived with a pack of wolves, backed by the mountains. There are all kinds of wild medicinal herbs in the mountains. However, these rare medicinal herbs are now sold casually outside and are worth 100 taels. But she wrapped it in torn cloth like picking grass. Under the guidance of the Black Wolf King, Shen Ningning rubbed the medicinal herbs that could stop bleeding in her small hands, then pinched Mo Lingwei's jaw and said, "Open your mouth." "Ah." Mo Lingwei frowned and said, "Take it away. With so many medicinal herbs to eat together, do you want to poison me?" "There is no poison," as the wolf and wolf said, "they are all medicinal herbs that can stop bleeding." Shen Ningning is talkative, but Mo Lingwei refuses to eat. The wolf on the side couldn't see it anymore, lifted his paw and jumped, pressing directly on the wound on Mo Lingwei's shoulder. Hiss! He opened his lips in pain, and Shen Ningning took this opportunity to stuff the medicinal herbs into his mouth. Mo Lingwei was furious and said, "Shen Ningning, you." Before he could finish speaking, the little one pinched his mouth and said, "It's a bit bitter, it's okay. Swallow it down quickly, the injury will heal faster." Mo Lingwei's dark gaze was as if he wanted to kill someone. He had no strength to struggle, and Shen Ningning held his mouth tightly, while the wolf pack stared beside him. Finally, he could only accept his fate and swallow it. Shen Ningning frowned as she watched Mo Lingwei suffer. She let go of her little hand and smiled, "This way we can get better quickly." Mo Lingwei suppressed his anger and closed his eyes, too lazy to pay attention to her. He regulates his luck, but there is always a toxin in his body that hits his internal organs, making him feel like being roasted in a scorching fire. Poison has spread. The sixth prince sent someone to pursue and kill him. It's not enough to cut him so many knives, and he also needs to apply poison on the blade. How much do you want him to die? Mo Lingwei knew that this highly toxic herb would be useless unless an antidote was taken. If he had the fate to go back, he would definitely make the sixth prince feel worse than death. Thinking of this, hatred and anger intertwine in my heart. At this moment, Shen Ningning chattered with the Black Wolf King, attracting Mo Lingwei's attention. Mo Lingwei watched as the Black Wolf King lifted his eyelids and stared at him, occasionally whimpering. It had a barrier-free conversation with the little one, and it seemed like one wolf and one person were discussing him. Mo Ling's eyebrows trembled with fear. Can she still communicate with wolves? After finishing speaking to the Black Wolf King, Shen Ningning stood up and said, "Let's leave now. If you soak in Lingquan all night, it will definitely be much better tomorrow morning." Taking a bath in spring water. Mo Lingwei was puzzled. After 2 sticks of incense. He rode a wolf with Shen Ningning to a paradise-like place. Shen Ningning spoke well and even asked the Black Wolf King to come forward before convincing Wolf San to ride Mo Lingwei for a while. As soon as he arrived at the spring, he was knocked down by the impatient Wolf 3. Sitting on the ground, looking at the scenery in front of him, Mo Lingwei fell into a moment of confusion. A vast expanse of green forest surrounds a clear and transparent spring, surrounded by wide puddles filled with azure spring water. The surrounding forest is obviously nourished by the spring water, lush and verdant. But the entire Zhou dynasty had hardly rained for 3 consecutive years. In addition to a decrease in crop yields, there are also many rivers that have dried up. The continuously flowing spring water like this has not been seen by Mo Lingwei for a long time. Shen Ningning tilted her head and looked at him with a surprised expression. She smiled sweetly and said, "All right, you go in and soak in it. This spring water can nourish your body and quickly heal your injuries." As soon as she finished speaking, Wolf San, holding his breath, jumped up and pushed Mo Lingwei into the water with a press of his paws. Pu Tong. Shen Ningning originally wanted to sit in the shade next to her. However, Mo Lingwei struggled in the water for a while before suddenly reaching out and grabbing her small ankle by the shore. Shen Ningning. Wait. His handsome and pale face showed a rare look of panic, which was completely different from his previous irritability and coldness. The childhood shadow of almost drowning at a young age swept over again. "Don't leave," he said. "Hello everyone. On this auspicious day of the ecliptic, I have also brought my new book. I hope you can enjoy the story of the 4th daughter. This book is updated twice a day, with 2,000 words per chapter. Just like every previous book, I have increased the number of words per chapter, not less. If there is an opportunity in the future, we will make adjustments accordingly. Please bookmark your messages and give them a 5-star rating. You are still young and need everyone to take care of you together." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Ningning Small Treasure. If you want it, you have it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Ningning Small Treasure. If you want it, you have it. Mo Lingwei trembled uncontrollably. Until Shen Ningning's delicate and soft little hand grasped his palm. "So you're afraid of water? It's okay, I'll hold you, you can't sink." The little one smiled sweetly. The chubby face bulged, revealing a cute pear vortex. Mo Lingwei looked up and looked at the little one under the sunlight, backlit, wearing tattered clothes but with the purest and most beautiful smile. Her words miraculously comforted him. It doesn't matter in a scary environment, as long as someone can hold on to him like this. Mo Lingwei lay by the edge of the pond, his body relaxed, and he floated on the ice-blue spring water. The sun shone brightly, and he always held on to her little hand tightly. On the other side, Aunt Qin dressed Counselor Du in a robe. The two of them talked about Shen Ningning, who had run away with the wolf pack. Du Yuan's tall and round belly, with an inverted triangle in his eyes, appeared eerie. Although Shen Ningning is young, she still saw something she shouldn't have seen that day. If she were to speak up, it would affect my official career. "Guihong, you can't let her live." Qin Auntie tidied up Du Yuan's clothes, followed by a smile and a pretentious voice. "Brother-in-law, you can rest assured. That little orphan, who values her grandmother more than himself, knows that her grandmother is dead and will definitely not live alone. I have tried my best to force her to die. Even if she can't die, if I bring back Mrs. Qin later, the little orphan will still follow her home. I must take her life." Mr. Du nodded and then walked out of the room. Coincidentally, Uncle Qin returned home carrying a hoe, his whole body dirty. After seeing Mr. Du, Uncle Qin quickly nodded and bowed to greet him. Mr. Du didn't look askance or pay any attention, and directly boarded the carriage at the entrance of the yard, flying away. "Brother-in-law, take a slow walk and say hello to my sister for me." Aunt Qin waved her hand against the fence. When the carriage was out of sight, Uncle Qin followed Aunt Qin into the house. "Is your brother-in-law here again?" Have you given anything? He asked urgently. Aunt Qin gave him a white glance and sat in front of the mirror combing his hair. You can go to the kitchen and see for yourself, she said. Uncle Qin hurriedly left and came back soon. His voice was filled with dissatisfaction. Why did you just give me half a cylinder of rice? I usually give 2 or 3 cylinders. Pop. Aunt Qin patted her comb on the table. She turned her head and cursed, You cunning fool, there is a shortage of food everywhere now, and there is no harvest in the fields. It all depends on the court to provide food and supplies for disaster relief. My brother-in-law can give us half a vat of rice, which is already good. Do you still think it's too little? Too little, you have the ability to do it yourself. Not to mention that you were unable to find a job before, but now that you have been bitten off by a wolf, who would want a useless person? Uncle Qin had a thick neck and a red face, shouting, Wang Guihong, what are you talking about? I've listened to you and threw my mother up the mountain. I'm in a hurry for food, isn't it also for our whole family to have enough to eat? Seeing that he was really angry, Aunt Qin turned her eyes and softened her tone. She turned around and chuckled, all right, I know you're doing it for our family. But you also need to understand, right? Now there is a drought, and our family relies entirely on my brother-in-law for relief. Besides, if we fall into a well and break our heads, won't we all have to rely on my brother-in-law for the medical expenses? Uncle Qin suddenly withdrew his flag and lost his temper. He sat on the stool dejected. But for his incompetence, Aunt Qin would not be the final say at home. 3 days have passed. Thanks to Shen Ningning's Lingquan pond water, Mo Lingwei soaked for almost 4 hours a day, and the speed of his injury recovery exceeded his imagination. When he meditated again to regulate his breath, he felt the burning sensation of the toxin stimulating his blood vessels disappear. His poison was actually neutralized by the spring water. Mo Lingwei lowered his head again and looked at the wounds on his arm that had originally been turned outwards, all healed one by one, leaving only the crimson scars. But these scars, Shen Ningning said, will disappear soon. Looking at Shen Ningning's busy figure boiling eggs in the distance. Mo Lingwei's thin and long eyes were heavy. What exactly did she come from? Shen Ningning walked up to Mo Lingwei with 2 eggs in hand. Here. Eat while it's hot, said the wolf. Your external injuries heal quickly, and you need to take good care of your internal injuries. Eat eggs, heal quickly. The little one smiled sweetly. She divided Mo Lingwei and took one herself, sitting next to him. While Mo Lingwei was still peeling the eggshell, he turned his head and saw Shen Ningning biting the egg together. Mo Lingwei. Shen Ningning, he shouted. The little one lifted his watery eyes and looked at him innocently, with egg yolk still on his lips. Is it swollen? She asked vaguely. How do you eat eggshells together? Eggshells. Can't we eat them? When I was at home, my aunt always divided them this way. My sister ate egg yolks, they ate egg whites, and I ate eggshells. Mo Lingwei breathed a cold and deep breath, his black lacquered eyes staring at the little one. He used his slender fingers to divide the eggshell 3 times and 5 times, peeling it off. Eat me. The complete white tender egg was handed to the little one by Mo Lingwei. Shen Ningning silently took it over, hesitating for a long time without saying anything. Mo Lingwei said in a deep voice, Eat. She just opened her mouth and put it all in her mouth, her cheeks bulging like a little hamster. Mo Lingwei smiled angrily and said, Chew it. The little one just chewed obediently. Mo Lingwei then peeled off the remaining eggs she had eaten and placed them back in her palm. You must remember to peel the eggshell before eating, he warned. Thank you, Pot, it's my brother. Pots and pans. Mo Lingwei. Well, what's he arguing about with a 4-year-old child? Shen Ningning smiled at him with a bright and lovely smile. The Black Wolf King and the wolf pack on the side saw it and let out a contemptuous hiss from their nostrils. Mo Lingwei's conscious recovery is good. He stood up and said, "Let's go, take me to save your grandmother." Shen Ningning was overjoyed and said, "Brother, your injury doesn't matter anymore." Mo Lingwei lowered his cold eyes, his face rebellious and unruly. He twisted his cuffs and said, "My body is still weak, but my martial arts skills are not useless. I think saving someone should be more than enough." When Shen Ningning and the wolf pack brought Mo Lingwei to the big pit where his grandmother was being detained, Mo Lingwei was stunned. He thought her grandmother was being detained by someone else. "Get ready for a big fight." Unexpectedly, the little one asked him for help to cut the iron chain. Grandma Qin in the pit only had a weak and pale complexion, with a bucket of clean water and a few fruit pits beside her. "Ning Ning." Grandma Qin spoke weakly. "Grandma. I found a powerful brother to save you." The little one finished speaking, his eyes shining with anticipation as he looked at Mo Lingwei. Mo Lingwei said in a deep voice, "Without a knife or sword, how can we save them?" "Yes. There's everything." Shen Ningning patted her little hand. The Black Wolf King let out a whimper, and 4 wolves rushed out from the nearby grass, holding them separately. A sword, a knife, a long spear, and a dagger. Every weapon has been sharpened, and Mo Lingwei waved it a few times in his hand, feeling that each one was a treasure that could cut iron like mud. He became even more curious about Shen Ningning. It's not surprising to be able to find herbs and food in the mountains. But so many weapons. Mo Lingwei calmed down and jumped down the big pit, aiming his long sword at the iron chain that locked Grandma Qin's ankle. The intense crisp sound of clang echoed in the moment he fell. The blade explodes and flies, and the mouth of Mo Ling's dangerous tiger shakes. One of the broken blades flew towards Shen Ningning next to it. End of this chapter. Chapter 7, Go ahead and exchange some Ganoderma lucidum for silver. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Go ahead and exchange some Ganoderma lucidum for silver. The Black Wolf King roared and jumped into the pit, protecting Shen Ningning. Almost at the same moment, Mo Lingwei suddenly reached out and clenched the blade with a fist. Blood dripped down his palm. Shen Ningning quickly ran out from behind the Black Wolf King. "Brother, you're injured." Mo Lingwei didn't care. He threw the blade away and said, "No problem." Shen Ningning turned her eyes, and the iron chain tied between her grandmother's ankle and the boulder was finally broken. Grandma has finally been saved. Grandparents and grandchildren embraced each other and wept. However, Grandma Qin tried several times but couldn't stand up. Shen Ningning thought she was hungry, so she quickly peeled the boiled eggs she brought and handed them to Grandma Qin's lips. "Grandma, eating it will give you strength." Grandma Qin smiled bitterly and shook her head. "Ning Ning, Grandma is half paralyzed, I'm afraid she can't leave." Shen Ningning's small face suddenly wore a worried expression. The Black Wolf King stepped forward, arched her small hand, and then bared his teeth at Mo Lingwei. "Wolf, you mean brother can help?" "Yes, brother, can you help me lift Grandma up?" Mo Lingwei looked at the little one with a pitch-black gaze. His nature is to never mind idle matters. But since he has already arrived, he doesn't want to owe anyone any favors. So Mo Lingwei bent down and vigorously lifted Grandma Qin with his shoulders. Grandma Qin, on the other hand, had no sensation on half of her body and could not exert any strength. The Black Wolf King stood from behind, holding on to Grandma Qin's body with his head. The wolves at the edge of the pit held on to Grandma Qin's left and right sleeves, and with the help of everyone working together, they finally pulled her up. The Black Wolf King is the strongest and tallest, carrying Grandma Qin back to the cave. After returning, Grandma Qin lay on the haystack, weak and drowsy. Shen Ningning was a bit worried. Should Grandma also go soak in Lingquan? Mo Lingwei leaned against the mountain wall and closed his eyes, saying, "She's injured in her meridians and internal organs. The most important thing now is that you need to find a doctor for her." Dr. Shen Ningning's small face is troubled. "Then we'll go down the mountain and into the city." "But she has never been to the city, how should she find it?" Suddenly, a bang came from behind her. Shen Ningning quickly turned around and saw Mo Lingwei lying on the ground. "Brother!" The little one ran over and touched Mo Lingwei's forehead with his hand. "It's incredibly hot." He frowned long and his face turned cold and white. The Black Wolf King sniffed and let out 2 moans beside him. It smelled a strong smell of blood. Shen Ningning immediately asked the Black Wolf King for help and turned Mo Lingwei over. Unleashing his clothes, I realized that the injury on his back had slightly cracked again. Grandma Qin weakly said, "Ning Ning, how could he be so seriously injured?" Shen Ningning's small face was full of worry. She bit her lower lip and soon stood up straight, saying, "I want to go to the city and find a doctor. Just soaking in Lingquan may not be enough. Besides, my brother is right. Grandma still needs a doctor who understands medicine to see how to treat paralysis." The Black Wolf King suddenly let out a howl, and all the wolf pack stood up. They need to accompany Shen Ningning into the city and protect her at any time. However, the little one touched the ears of the Black Wolf King. "No way, Wolf. Everyone go, it will make people scared. Just send me to the foot of the mountain, and I will definitely come back before dark." The Black Wolf King's brass wolf eyes were full of worry. But the little one made up his mind. She knows that inviting a doctor requires money. She doesn't have silver, but she knows how to exchange things for silver. So, the little one entered the space and brought out a lot of purple lingji soaked in dew. She put it in a tattered bag, carried it on her back, and filled a pot of spiritual spring water with a water bag, tying it around her waist. Everything is ready, the Black Wolf King accompanies her out of the wolf den and down the mountain. Grandma Qin couldn't help but remind, "Ning Ning, be careful in everything. When we reach the foot of the mountain, Shen Ningning won't let the Black Wolf King deliver it again. Wolf, Grandma and brother are both injured. Please help me take care of them," the little one said softly. After speaking, she walked alone with her small feet, facing the scorching sun, onto the main road. The dark yellow wolf eyes of the Black Wolf King followed her figure until they could no longer be seen. Shen Ningning is very smart. She knows how to walk the main road. Because following the rut marks, you can find the direction to enter the city. She brought 2 red fruits to fill her stomach, and now she grabbed a big fruit with her small hands, eating sweet juice in her mouth, and her pace became light and agile. At this moment, Aunt Qin carried a bucket of spoiled rice and went to the edge of the pit. She can't let Grandma Qin really die. After all, we still need to use Grandma Qin to lure Shen Ningning back. But when Aunt Qin saw the empty pit, she was surprised. People. The iron chain was cut by something, and there were still broken blades on the ground. Not only that, there is also an overturned bucket with scattered fruit pits and eggshells next to it. Aunt Qin picked up a piece of eggshell and frowned as she looked around. In no time, I figured out what was going on. She cursed and said, "Damn the little orphan, how lucky he is. He hasn't died yet. Giving so much food to the old man, shouldn't he have stolen it?" Suddenly, Aunt Qin saw small drops of blood on the ground and looked forward along the bloodstains, only to see the blood droplets disappear into a patch of grass. Her eyes turned maliciously. There is a way to force Shen Ningning to death. Over there, the little one walked for almost half an hour. Surrounded by the scenery of mountains and forests, the further away from Wolf Mountain, the more she found that the grass and trees were withered and yellow, completely devoid of the verdant summer. Shen Ningning wiped away the sweat from her forehead and prepared to find a shady place under a big tree to rest. The shoes she was wearing had a hole, and her thumb was mischievously exposed. As she approached the big tree, she heard weak gasps coming from behind. The little one poked his head and took a look. Behind the big tree sat an old man with bright hair. He was wearing a dignified robe, with 2 blood holes visible 1 inch below his knees, and the wound was covered in a dark blue. The little one was surprised and said, "Grandpa, you've been bitten by a snake." She is not unfamiliar with this injury. At the age of 3, Qin Fangmei once caught a venomous snake and placed it on her bed. The little one was bitten, but it still relied on his grandmother to suck out poisonous blood and soak in linquan to save his life. The old man looked up, his eyes almost relaxed, and he could only vaguely look at the little person who suddenly appeared in front of him, but couldn't see his face clearly. "Ah! Yes, my servant has already driven the carriage to find a helper." Shen Ningning immediately walked up to him and said, "I just walked over. There's no medical clinic in a radius of 10 miles, and I've been bitten by a snake. You can't drag it, it'll be lifeless." After she finished speaking, she lowered her head and squeezed the area where the snake had bitten her with her small hands. Black blood slowly flowed out. Squeezing for a while, Shen Ningning opened her small mouth again, taking each bite and sucking out the remaining black blood, spitting it out. The old man was momentarily stunned. A girl who has never met before, willing to sacrifice her life to help him. Finally, Shen Ningning took out the water bag and rinsed her mouth with linquan water. Pour the entire spiritual spring brought out onto the old man's injury. "All right. This can suppress toxins. Grandpa, when you are taken to the hospital, you will have time to receive treatment." The old man couldn't see her appearance clearly, so he asked, "Little girl, what's your name?" The adorable people in the group gave Ning Ning and Prince Mo a couple named Morning, which sounds really nice. Dear friends, please give me plenty of tickets and positive feedback today. I will update early in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 8, let's start with 400 Tales of Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8, let's start with 400 Tales of Flowers. Shen Ningning didn't pay attention to what he was saying, because she was thinking whether to give the remaining red fruits on her body to the old man as well. Red fruits are grown in fairyland by being watered by spiritual springs. Can strengthen the body and keep fit. The little one thought for a moment, but still took the initiative to put the red fruit in his hand. "Grandpa, leave this for you. If you feel uncomfortable, eat it. I have to go, I can't accompany you anymore." She still has to hurry, and both her grandmother and brother are waiting for her. Shen Ningning walked away with small feet, clattering away. The old man struggled to see her clearly, but the blurriness in front of him made him unable to see anything. Shen Ningning walked for another hour and gradually could see the pedestrians. She was overjoyed and quickly quickened her pace. The tall and wide city gate of the capital appears not far away. She obediently walked over and followed the bustling crowd, queuing up to enter the city. When Shen Ningning looked around, she found many people with tattered clothes and waxy yellow faces not far from the city gate. Some of them are lying down, while others are sitting. Some remained motionless, with flies flying around their bodies, emitting a foul odor. Everyone's thin cheeks are sunken, and their eyes are dull. Shen Ningning was stunned for a moment. This should be the refugees that Grandma mentioned, right? Suddenly, a luxurious carriage drove from outside. Ding ling ling. The bells at the 4 corners of the eaves of the car rang. The group of refugees, like dead people, began to move like crazy. The nobleman riding in the carriage threw a few jujube cakes from the car window and fell to the ground, stained with dirt. The refugees ignored them and rushed up in droves. As soon as they catch something to eat, they immediately stuff it into their mouths, and some even fight fiercely to grab a bite. A group of officers and soldiers came out angrily to stop them, and even hit them with sticks. The refugees caused quite a stir in order to resist. The scene suddenly became extremely panicked. Shen Ningning was frightened and hugged her small cloth bag, taking advantage of the chaos to run towards the city. Compared to the chaos outside the city is relatively calm, but beggars huddled under the walls can be seen everywhere. A vendor was pushing a water cart, accompanied by 6 guards, shouting, "A bucket of clean water, 10 taels." Those beggars were staring at them intently, but they dared not come forward to snatch it. 10 liang. Shen Ningning counted with her little finger. She remembered that Aunt Qin said that if she bought a jar of rice outside, it would cost 20 taels. A bucket of water can only be used for 3 days. She looked at the cloth shop that made shoes again. A better pair of shoes costs 3 taels, and those shiny and beautiful silks are all priced at 50 taels. Shen Ningning retreated in embarrassment. She lowered her head and looked at her shoes with protruding toes. She still planned to go to the pharmacy first and see how much silver the herbs could be exchanged for. Finally, I found a shop with the word medicine floating around. There are many well-dressed maids and servants in the shop, queuing up to get medicine. The guys show them great respect. When it was Shen Ningning's turn, the guy just glanced at her. He waved his hand to drive away and said, "Little beggar, go away, go away. There's nothing to eat here for you." Shen Ningning was pushed a few times by him and immediately hugged the nearby pillar, saying, "I'm not here to beg for food, I sell medicinal herbs." The guy paused and looked at her again, his eyes full of mockery. "You? What medicinal herbs are you selling? We agreed in advance that we won't accept things from unknown sources. Moreover, if the appearance is not good, we won't accept it even more." Shen Ningning untied the tattered bag and carefully took out the purple lingji from inside. "Do you accept this?" The guy almost dropped his chin on the ground. He widened his eyes and looked at the purple lingji in the little one's hand, which was still wet with dew. The size of a palm, with excellent appearance. In this drought year, it is not possible to grow one in 50 years. Wait. The guys started stuttering. "I'll go ask the shopkeeper." After speaking, he took the purple lingji and entered the inner hall. Quickly, there were calls of surprise coming from inside. In no time, the tall and thin shopkeeper came out, and the waiter pointed to him and saw Shen Ningning sitting obediently on the stool. The little one was full of curiosity and was looking around the pharmacy, tightly holding a rag bag in his arms. "Little doll, is this purple lingji yours?" The shopkeeper walked over and asked with a smile. Shen Ningning nodded and said, "Do you want it?" The shopkeeper said, "Don't worry, let's enter the inner hall and have a good chat." Shen Ningning hesitated for a moment, then jumped off the chair and followed him with small feet. After entering the inner hall, the shopkeeper offered a cup of tea, but Shen Ningning refused to drink it. "Grandpa shopkeeper, do you want it or not?" she urged and asked. "If it's absolutely necessary, as long as the price is reasonable, but I have to ask you first, where do you get this purple lingji from? A good medicinal herb with this appearance cannot be wild." "I planted it myself," Shen Ningning said. The shopkeeper was startled. Most pharmaceutical merchants have their own medicinal gardens. But now in the dry year, there have only been 2 rains in the capital this year, which is not enough for the growth of Ganoderma lucidum. Where exactly did this girl get this one from? The shopkeeper squinted his eyes. Shen Ningning felt a little uneasy and said, "Shopkeeper, if you don't want it, I'll go ask another house. Sorry to bother you." She picked up the purple lingji on the table and wanted to leave. "Wait." The shopkeeper held down her small hand and said with a smile, "Yes, why not? How about giving you 80.2 and 1 purple lingji? Actually, according to the market price, purple lingji is sold by catty. Giving 1 kilogram to 100 taels is not an exaggeration. But he just wants to test whether this little guy knows what to do or not." Shen Ningning thought for a moment. 80 taels, you can buy a lot of things now. She nodded briskly and said, "Sell. 5 pieces, a total of 400 taels." The shopkeeper couldn't sit still and suddenly stood up, 5 sticks. Shen Ningning spread out the tattered bag, inside which were 4 purple lingji mushrooms of the same quality. The shopkeeper almost couldn't stand steadily. This little girl is a wealthy medicinal herb merchant. At a young age, take out 5 purple lingji directly. You. The shopkeeper's lips trembled, unsure of what to say. Shen Ningning blinked Jingruan's eyes and asked clearly, "Shopkeeper grandpa, what's the most expensive thing here? I'll go back and plant it for you. Can you still order medicine like ordering dishes? Everything is there." The shopkeeper said, "If you have ginseng and Polygonum multiflorum, I can also accept them." Shen Ningning nodded lightly and took note. In no time, the guy came in with 400 taels of silver bills. The little one has only seen silver, not this thing. She hesitated for a moment and said, "Can this be spent? I need to go shopping." The shopkeeper chuckled and said, "Of course, if it's not convenient for you, I can exchange it for a bag of silver, but it's very heavy. You should take it well." Shen Ningning hummed and said, "Silver is still convenient." After half a stick of incense, she left the pharmacy with the silver in her hand. Shen Ningning didn't forget that she was looking for a doctor, but before that, she had to buy something and bring it back together. The little one headed straight for the cloth shop that had just passed by. The heavy silver, carried on her back, she walked with her head held high, full of confidence. Entering the cloth shop, she didn't wait for the shopkeeper to urge her to leave. The little one had already said softly, "I want to buy this dress." She reached out her little hand and pointed to a set of men's robes hanging on the wall, clearly priced at 80 taels. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Money is Confidence. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Money is Confidence. The staff and customers in the store all cast their eyes at the little guy. They looked at her without any mockery. Because Shen Ningning is wearing worn-out clothes and her shoes have a hole. Even if her small face is white and her appearance is watery. But everyone got used to refugees and treated her like a beggar. The shopkeeper frowned and said, "Where did the little ghost cause trouble? If you don't leave, I'll catch you and report to the authorities." Shen Ningning angrily took out a small bag of silver that had already been prepared from her sleeve, stomped on her feet, and threw it onto the counter. "I said, I want to buy clothes." The shopkeeper was half believing and half doubting. When he opened the bag and saw the white silver coins, he immediately turned to a smile on his face. "So the young lady really wants to buy clothes, sorry for my awkwardness." He called out to his buddy, took off the clothes, and wrapped them for Shen Ningning. In addition to clothes, Shen Ningning also bought 2 items for her grandmother and bought her grandmother and her shoes. "I spent a total of 120 taels. The package of the clothes was not light." She carried them away from the cloth shop, walked to the corner, and took advantage of no one's attention to put the clothes in the fairyland first. Then, the little one headed straight for the stable. In a disaster year, many families sell horses to raise money. Shen Ningning walked back and forth by the stable. The responsible shopkeeper walked over and didn't smile. "Little girl, did you get lost with your parents?" Shen Ningning lifted his watery black eyes and looked at him. "I want to buy a carriage." Because she already understands that silver is very important. Although she has a fairyland, there is no silver in it. But she can exchange things for silver. After buying a carriage, you can take your grandmother around the city. If you sell medicinal herbs again, you don't have to keep walking, it's so hard. The shopkeeper was surprised. "It's the first time I've seen such a big-mouthed little person." He chuckled and said, "A carriage costs 200 taels of silver. If you want to figure it out, do you have that much?" Shen Ningning nodded and said, "I have it. Please pick a strong horse for me, pull the carriage to the door, and I will give you the silver." The shopkeeper frowned, although somewhat skeptical, he still followed suit. When the carriage was ready, the little one handed him the prepared silver bag. She has already taken out the remaining 80 taels in advance. Shen Ningning doesn't know how to drive a carriage, so she also rented a coachman from the stable. I need to pay him 5 taels back and forth. Finally, Shen Ningning sat in the carriage and returned to the previous pharmacy's spring revival hall. Grandpa shopkeeper, she lay on the car window and looked at the people in the pharmacy with a smile. Call a doctor and accompany me on a trip. The shopkeeper was busy coming out, looking at the tall horse. The little one's eyes were even brighter than just now. Having money really means having confidence. Spending money is really a big deal. Little doll, if you don't mind, I'll go with you. The doctors in the Spring Festival Hall have all gone out for consultations. As the shopkeeper, I also come from a family of doctors, said the shopkeeper. He finally took the opportunity to figure out what this little girl came from. Shen Ningning tilted her head and said, how much medical fee should I give you? Just now when I bought purple Lingji, I gave her less money, so the shopkeeper smiled humbly and said, not much, back and forth 10 taels, not including the cost of medicine. Do you think it's feasible? Shen Ningning thought for a moment and nodded, get in the car. There are still 65 taels left. She originally thought there wasn't much money left. So before Shen Ningning left the capital, she returned to the cloth shop and bought herself a suit of clothes. Spend 30 taels. After some thought, I went to buy some pots, bowls, ladles, and pots, which cost 15 taels. In the end, there were only 20 taels left, but she was satisfied. On the carriage, I learned that Shen Ningning spent a lot of money buying things. The pharmacy shopkeeper chuckled and said, little doll, why don't you buy water and food? With so much money, you can live a good life for a while. Shen Ningning said without hesitation, no need. The pharmacy shopkeeper wanted to ask again, but the little person cleverly closed his eyes and seemed to be going to bed. He's not good at asking further questions. As we entered the mountain road, the sunset was already shining brightly. Shen Ningning opened her eyes again and gave the driver directions. The carriage she bought is wide and sturdy. If you want to enter Langshan, you have to pass through Shangyun village. As the carriage whizzed past the village road, Uncle Qin and a group of villagers loosening the soil in the fields looked envious. Which wealthy family has come to our village again? Look at this direction, it doesn't seem like they're entering our village. When it comes to wealth and status, I've only seen someone in a carriage once, and that's old Qin's brother. Law. Do you think so, old Qin? Uncle Qin's face turned pale, he lowered his head, wiped his sweat with a thick cloth, and used it as an excuse to rest, so he carried a hoe and left. The carriage stopped at the foot of Wolf Mountain. Ahem! Shen Ningning heard the familiar call and her face lit up with joy. Wolves and wolves are indeed waiting for her. The coachman and the shopkeeper were frightened and their faces turned pale. Is there a wolf? This is probably not the Wolf Mountain where wild wolves are said to cluster together. Shen Ningning smiled sweetly and said, don't be afraid, they don't hurt anyone. As she spoke, she jumped off the carriage. The coachman had already made an excuse and turned around to run. The shopkeeper has weak legs and feet. As soon as she got off the carriage, Shen Ningning noticed a pale and cold figure standing in the forest, watching her. Brother. Shen Ningning walked with small feet and ran towards him. Mo Lingwei strongly supported the sick body, with thin and hazy eyes, but still carrying a strong aura. After he woke up, he heard Grandma Qin say that Shen Ningning was going to the city alone, and felt that she was being mischievous. She has never left this mountain, and in the current situation in the city, she has not been eaten by those crazy refugees. Fortunately, when Shen Ningning returned, he breathed a sigh of relief. Mo Lingwei stared at the pharmacy shopkeeper behind her and said, who is he? It's the doctor I invited back to treat you and your grandmother. Shopkeeper Grandpa, let's go into the mountain now. Shen Ningning smiled and said, but the pharmacy shopkeeper dared not move a step. He looked at the wolf pack pacing and circling around, so scared that he wanted to scream but couldn't make a sound. Mo Lingwei's gaze was even more frightening than a pack of wolves, like a blade. He looked at the shopkeeper for a moment and said coldly, "If you want him to enter the mountain, you have to make him cover his eyes." Shen Ningning is puzzled. But Mo Lingwei persisted and even took the initiative to tear off a piece of fabric and throw it to the shopkeeper. "Put it on, otherwise you won't be able to go back today," he warned coldly. The pharmacy shopkeeper was so scared that he quickly followed suit and said, "I'll wear it, I'll wear it." "You make the wolf, don't eat me." If I had known he wouldn't have made this trip. I wanted to see what kind of family it is to be able to grow purple lingji. Who would have thought it was a pack of wolves? Mo Lingwei and Shen Ningning walked ahead, while the Black Wolf King closely followed Shen Ningning, constantly rubbing her hands with his head and licking her again. The little one was laughing happily. "Shen Ningning, you are backed by the mountains, with springs and food. Don't let unfamiliar people take control of your position." Mo Lingwei lowered his voice and said coldly. He knows the dangers of human nature and that having so many resources would not be a good thing for a 4-year-old child. When someone with ulterior motives breaks in, the wolf pack may not be able to protect her. Think of it here. Mo Lingwei suddenly froze. Strange, why has he been increasingly nagging about her lately? Their figures gradually disappeared into the depths of the forest. Uncle Qin, who was hiding in the distance, walked out with surprised eyes. He hurried home and told Aunt Qin everything he had seen. Aunt Qin chuckled and said, "Why did that little orphan suddenly dare to challenge me? It turned out to be supported by a pack of wolves. But so what, it's just a group of animals. Let's see if I don't die with the pack of wolves." Uncle Qin hesitated a bit and said, "But there's also a strange young man following her. It's probably a desperate refugee, not to be afraid. This time, we must let Shen Ningning, this lowly girl, know how powerful she is." Aunt Qin smiled wickedly and was full of confidence. "Congratulations to those who have finished the college entrance examination and are finally able to enjoy your wonderful vacation. Collecting, voting, commenting, and checking in, sticking to this nutrition package every day can make Ningning healthy and fat. Speaking of which, I updated very early today, right? #carrot. Carrot hashtag, end of this chapter. Chapter 10. Something's wrong. The other party wants 200 taels. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Something's wrong. The other party wants 200 taels. Within the forest. Shen Ningning's innocent smile, shallow pear vortex, bright eyes. She stood in the sunset watching Mo Lingwei and said, "Brother, I remember everything you just said." After speaking, she took the initiative to hug the Black Wolf King's neck, flipped over, and climbed onto it. The Black Wolf King ran and bounced back and forth with the little one, making Shen Ningning giggle. The little one is in a good mood. Perhaps because she found a way of survival that suits her, she is full of hope for the future. Mo Ling was in a dangerous situation and couldn't help but pursed his thin lips, smiled lightly, and quickly restrained himself. The poor pharmacy shopkeeper followed them trembling. He can't see and doesn't know the direction. Sometimes when he goes off course, Wolf San hits him with his head. The shopkeeper was frightened and screamed all the way. Only after entering the wolf's den did the shopkeeper be allowed to untie the mask. He first felt the pulse for Grandma Qin, and then felt the pulse for Mo Lingwei. During this period, the shopkeeper felt uneasy and uneasy. The old, weak, sick, and disabled of this entire cave, it's not worth it. Look at the entrance and inside of the cave, surrounded by no less than 20 wolves. And the shopkeeper knows that Wolf Mountain is known for its abundance of wolves. There are probably more places that he can't see. After diagnosing the pulse, I roughly knew the symptoms. The shopkeeper began to give Granny Qin acupuncture and moxibustion. The old man has nothing serious to do. His blood is blocked. The serious problem is that he has been delayed for a long time. If he wants to have acupuncture and moxibustion every day, he must keep well for a month. Shen Ningning immediately sat next to the shopkeeper, studying diligently. The shopkeeper applied needles to Grandma Qin's forehead, arms, and stomach. At the end of the first session, Grandma Qin coughed up a lot of blood stasis. At the beginning of the second session, Shen Ningning took the initiative to request herself to receive an injection. She just saw through and knows how to do it. So, under the watchful eyes of the shopkeeper, the little guy personally performed acupuncture and moxibustion for his grandmother. The shopkeeper was surprised and nodded repeatedly, "Your talent is commendable, there's nothing wrong. It's time to treat Mo Lingwei again. He mainly didn't recover well after being injured." The shopkeeper looked around and said, "The cave is damp and not conducive to the recovery of internal and external injuries." He prescribed a prescription for Shen Ningning. "These medicines need to be taken back to the pharmacy." Shen Ningning glanced at it and didn't recognize the characters, but she remembered that these font outlines were present in the fairyland. The little one said straightforwardly, "You don't have to worry about this, I have a solution." The shopkeeper gave a casual smile. Now the shopkeeper will believe whatever she says. Such a capable little girl, hiding in the deep mountains like a master. Finally, the shopkeeper, like Tathagata, was blindfolded and sent away by the wolf pack. Shen Ningning made an agreement with him that the shopkeeper would come to pick her up at the foot of Langshan Mountain in 3 days, and she would take the medicinal herbs and sell them again. Grandma Qin was carrying tears of emotion. Ningning is really a little lucky star. She can both save people and take care of herself. Grandma can finally feel at ease, she said. Shen Ningning, who was praised as a little lucky star for the first time, was particularly happy. She lay in Grandma Qin's arms, acting coquettishly like when she was young. "Grandma. As Ningning said, she will always take care of you." Mo Lingwei's high fever did not subside, so he waited in the mountains and forests for another half-hour just to find Shen Ningning. Therefore, at this moment, he lay on the dry haystack, closing his eyes and frowning. Shen Ningning walked over and placed the soft clothes beside him. Mo Lingwei opened his eyes in seclusion. The little one said, "Brother, this is the new clothes I bought for you. When you get better, you can wear them and go home." Upon hearing this, Mo Lingwei inexplicably smiled. He spoke inexplicably, going home. Where does he still have a home after his mother passed away? A dull headache struck and he fell asleep in a daze. Shen Ningning took out a lot of skinned and feathered ducks and chickens from the space, totaling about 50, and the little ones were all tired. She generously handed it over to the Black Wolf King. "Wolf, thank you all for your help today. I'll share these with you." The Black Wolf King licked her palm and the little one smiled sweetly, "You're welcome." The wolf pack howled even more happily. Grandma Qin also rested after eating. The night falls low. At this moment, Shen Ningning flashed into the fairyland. She walked to the pharmacy and compared the medicine prescribed by the shopkeeper, taking each medicine one by one. The little one followed the medicine cabinet and walked to the back of the medicine hall. "I just saw a locked door behind the main hall." "Ha! Where is this? Why didn't you notice it before?" She blinked curiously. Shen Ningning pushed forward twice but couldn't open it. "That lock is made of something unknown, emitting a faint blue light." She tiptoed up and looked inside through the gap in the middle of the door. Inside, it seemed like a blue sky and white clouds, illuminating a field. But the fields were bare and nothing was planted. Shen Ningning is a bit curious. Do we need conditions to open this door in the fairyland? Leaving the fairyland, Shen Ningning sat beside the Black Wolf King without any drowsiness, with sparkling eyes, eating fruits and enjoying the night breeze. During the day, she went to the city and bought a lot of things with money, which made her realize the importance of silver. In the future, if she can have more money, will she be able to find her parents? Shen Ningning thought as she scratched Bai Nun's arm with her small hand. The Black Wolf King used his claws several times to push her hand away. But the little one who felt very itchy didn't notice at all. Until the Black Wolf King let out a dissatisfied growl. Shen Ningning just regained consciousness. Wolf, why are you unhappy? The Black Wolf King let out a low roar twice. Shen Ningning lowered her head and looked at her arm. I just realized that there are actually several small red dots growing. No wonder she feels itchy. These days she has been busy with her brother and grandmother, forgetting to soak in Lingquan herself. However, the little one is not worried. It's okay, when I was thrown to sleep in the cowshed before, I also had this kind of small red dot because it was too humid. I just bask in the sun every day, and it's okay. Shen Ningning smiled optimistically and sweetly. The Black Wolf King's eyes were heavy. It knows that the young man's condition recurred because he lived in a damp cave. But Shen Ningning, who was younger, followed them to sleep in the haystack. The Black Wolf King thinks it needs to find a way to solve it. The night is already deep. Shen Ningning fell asleep on the body of the Black Wolf King. However, in Shangyun village, Grandma Chen couldn't sleep. She held the letter sent from the border and read it over and over again under the lights, tears streaming down her face. The letter was written by her son, who said he made a mistake in the border and offended a noble person. Now we need to use the money to clear the relationship and walk the street. Otherwise, you will be imprisoned and sent back to Beijing for punishment. Grandma Chen searched through her savings at home. We can only gather 50.2 taels. But the letter asked her to send over 200 taels. In today's disaster year, family and friends are all poor and jingling, and they are not wealthy families. Now that they have caused trouble, what should be good? Grandma Chen felt hopeless. Suddenly, she looked up and saw the 3 red fruits given by Shen Ningning that she was reluctant to eat on the cabinet. This is a good thing and also very expensive. Grandma Chen hesitated for a moment. I think it's better to sell it for money than to eat it. It's better to exchange some for a little. The next day, she directly took the village chief's ox cart and rode into the city. Grandma Chen set up a stall with a price tag of 521 yuan. However, more people just passed by without purchasing. Until a carriage stopped in front of her. The Mingdao guard also restrained the tall horse and stayed around. Grandma Chen was frightened by this posture. Someone lifted the curtain, revealing a majestic face. Where did you come from, this red fruit? End of this chapter.